What do you want to be when you grow up? A question that's asked by educators and instructors everywhere. And this question is meant to elicit thought, creativity, and imagination in the young minds of the individuals in those classrooms. The first time I was asked this question, I was in kindergarten. And it's also the first time that I heard the words, "you can't." And it isn't that I said that I wanted to be a mythical, magical creature. I simply said, I am going to be a lawyer. And I said that with confidence. And my teacher looked at me straight in the eyes and said, "You can't." And I remember taking the bus home that day and telling my mom that my teacher told me that I can't be a lawyer. Now, my mom said a lot of things that day, but only one that I can repeat here in front of all of you. And that is, you will not be a statistic. Now, remember, I said I was in kindergarten, so I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. But she said it, and she meant it. And to this day, that phrase plays on repeat in my mind over and over. You will not be a statistic. And while my mom had the best of intentions, she was wrong. I learned throughout my life that that was not the only time that I would be told that I can't do or be something. You see, I am a multiracial female born to an underage mother who was classified as a juvenile delinquent, who had undiagnosed mental health issues, and who dropped out of school shortly after she had me. And by the time I was 3, I was blessed enough to have 3 dads. One who didn't want me at all, and 2 stepdads. My first stepdad and my mom had a volatile relationship, and so with the help of my grandmother, she packed 3-year-old me and my infant sister up and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, where she met my second stepdad, who I only call Dad, because that's what he is. So my parents had my younger 2 siblings, who we affectionately call the twins, but by the time I was 12, maybe 13, my mom's undiagnosed mental illness made every day different, and it was too much. So my parents got a divorce. And while my dad was still very much involved in my life, he didn't live in the house anymore. So it was now my responsibility to help with my siblings. My mom looked at me and said, "Sasha, I don't have anyone else. So if I don't have you to depend on, what am I supposed to do?" So now I'm responsible for helping with the cooking, with the cleaning, making sure my siblings go to bed on time and do their homework, usually not in that order. And all of the while, I have to keep my own grades up, because in my home, bad grades were not acceptable. We lived in low-income neighborhoods. I went to low-income schools. And just in case my life does not check enough statistical boxes, I'm a first-generation college student. Have you ever heard the phrase, "words are weapons"? Yeah, me too. But I think that phrase is incomplete. I think that phrase should be, "words and statistics are weapons." According to dictionary.com, a statistic is a fact or a piece of data from a study that's regarded as no more than data. But the dictionary.com definition doesn't stop there, though. It goes on to state that it is a person or event that is regarded as no more than data. But statistics aren't all bad, right? They could predict a lot of information. They're very helpful sometimes. They can tell you trends. They can tell you the resources people need. But what they can't tell you is how they're going to be used. And in my circumstance, those same statistics that were used to tell me I was not good enough, that I was less than. So as I was preparing for this, I was revisiting all of these different facts and figures and statistics that I was reading, and I realized that people who come from backgrounds like mine Well, wouldn't you know it, we have cognitive issues because we grew up in stressful households. And we are likely to stay poor because we have financial issues and stressors in the household. And hey, we are always going to have some sort of decline cognitively because our parents just didn't have time for us. And just in case that's not enough to read, first-generation college students have unrealistic expectations of college because their parents didn't go. But as I look at all of the faces in the audience today, I wonder, how many of us have ever felt overwhelmed by life in general? Probably all of us, right? And how many of us have struggled to pay bills or endured some kind of financial stress? I mean, let's be honest, have you seen the cost of eggs, bread, gas? But these things were not used to say anything about everybody, just people like me. So if we have all of these things in common, wouldn't that mean that maybe these statistics are a little bit wrong? And I started realizing that it wasn't fair. You see, I went to those schools and I got into those institutions because I graduated and I earned my grades the same way everybody else did. And people who had both parents in the home and were better off financially, well, they were dropping out of school and failing out, but I wasn't. And you know what else? They also keep telling me how the system was broken, but they're not telling me how to fix it. And I definitely don't see any changes now. But I get to carry the shame of walking into these classrooms and sitting there knowing that I'm reading articles that are talking about me and my experience like I'm nothing. I wonder what it feels like to be dropped into a dark room and given a set of 100 keys and told to make your way out. I'm sure it's not impossible, but it's difficult. And that's what every day walking into a classroom feels like for me. And figuring out how to get out was me finding a mentor, was me finding little bits of hope in dark places. It was finding Dr. Nathanson, who believed in me before she even met me. It was Dr. Lisa Ben-Dixon, who provides a spark in every single thing that I do. She doesn't make things easy, but it's always possible. So I don't believe in telling a story without a message. And the message is this: words can be weapons, and statistics are weapons when they're used incorrectly. And as educators, I challenge each and every one of you to do the right thing and allow students to define their own success. Their past, their burdens, their struggles do not define them. You don't know what somebody is capable of doing. Only they do. So don't clip a person's wings and tell them they can't fly before they ever have the courage or the chance. And to the people who come from backgrounds like mine, nobody can see our scars. Those are imprinted on our hearts and not our skin. We are not victims. And I know that you guys can all do the same things that you set your mind to because I did it too. And if nobody else believes in you, I do. Stan Lee, the Marvel maven, once said, "Another definition of a superhero is someone who is concerned about other people's well-being. They're willing to go out of his or her way to help someone just because it's the right thing to do, even if there is no reward." So I challenge all of you to help someone else, to be a superhero to someone. I'm standing here because of my superheroes. They lifted the word can't off of me. Be a superhero. Be a person like Dr. Lisa Ben-Dixon, my mentor. Be a person like Dr. Nathanson, who believed in me before she ever set eyes on me. Be something so simple as a friend, like my friend Elise or even Muhammad. Let people know that it's possible to be successful without any other thing besides what's inside of them. You might want to call me a statistic, because my circumstances in my life say I am. But I'd like to formally introduce myself. My name is Sasha Ball, and I'm a person. I'm not a statistic. My life is. And as my nephew's superhero, Miles Morales, said in the 2023 Spider-Man movie, everyone is going to tell you how your story is supposed to go. Nah, do it your way.